Okay, so one of the things that you need to be able to do is tell the difference between speed, velocity, and acceleration. So in this video, we're going to look at just speed and velocity, the difference between speed and velocity. We'll look at acceleration in another video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen with you. We're going to go through a scenario that will help you understand the difference. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the speed and velocity. We're going to compare those two things and be able to tell how they're different. All right, so really, the short explanation is that speed is the change in your distance over time, and that velocity is your change in your distance over time with a direction. So if you hear 25 miles an hour, that's speed. If you hear 25 miles an hour to the west, that's velocity. Now I'm going to go a little bit deeper and show you kind of what that really means. So you're looking at a map of Lake Waco here, and you and your buddy are at the park. All right, so you are, let's see, we're going to put your color is going to be blue, your location is blue, and the other location is going to be, well, let's make it red. Okay, so you get a call from your buddy over here at this campsite, and that's marked in red, and you're over here at this park in blue. And so your buddy says, hey, come over here, we're having a party, come see us. So you're like, okay, I'll do that. You and your friend are here together. You're going to go see this other guy across the lake. So you're like, you know what? It's a really nice day. Let's walk. And so your buddy's like, no, I don't want to walk. Let's just drive. Get there a lot faster. And you're like, no, I'm going to walk. So you decide that you're going to walk across. And I'm going to mark your path in blue. Come up here, you walk across the suspension bridge. Let me try that again. You walk across the suspension bridge all the way over there to the other park, okay? And that distance is 1 mile. So the distance from where you are to where this other guy is 1 mile. All right? And it took you about 30 minutes to walk that far, okay? So 30 minutes is half of an hour. So if you went 1 mile in half of an hour, that means you would go 2 miles in a whole hour. So we're going to write your speed as 2 miles per hour. All right, so that's your speed, 2 miles an hour. Now your buddy is not real, your other guy that was with you that wanted to drive, he's not real familiar with Waco. And so he is going to end up getting lost. All right, and I'm going to track his path in red. So instead of turning left to go across the bridge here to get to the other camping site, he accidentally turns right. And he's going to go on a really long drive because his phone died and he doesn't have a map and he's trying to figure it out on his own, but he keeps making the wrong turn. And so he gets majorly lost. Ends way up here in Belmead and circles around. And he's like, oh, I think I know where I am. He comes back down over here. And then he realizes, oh, I forgot something at my house, my charger. I need to go get it. So he goes back to his house right over here, stops, picks up his charger, and then he kind of comes back. Oh, he gets lost one more time, finally figures it out, and he's going to end up going all the way around the lake when he just could have gone straight across the lake. Okay, so remember, this is his path in red, and he ends up in the exact same place that you end up. You're both in the same spot right here. Okay, now you walked 2 miles an hour. All right, and he drove, let's calculate his speed. By the time he ended up getting there, he actually drove 30 miles. So his distance was 30 miles that he actually ended up traveling. All right, I'm just going to leave it 30 miles like that. Well, I'll do it like this. It took him 1 hour. So if you take his distance that he traveled divided by the time it took for him to do that, which is 1 hour, then if you divide it by 1 hour, then it means his speed was 30 miles an hour. Okay, so that speed is the distance that you traveled divided by the time it took you to travel that far. So his speed is 30 miles an hour. Your speed was 2 miles an hour. Okay, so he's going a lot faster than you are. His speed is a lot faster. Now, velocity is different. Velocity is how fast you went in a certain direction. So you guys were here at this park. Let me circle that in this feet. Y'all were here at this park, and you wanted to end up over the park in yellow. We said that was 1 mile, and that direction, we're just going to call that to the west. It's a little bit northwest, but to keep things simple, we're going to call that to the west. Okay, so this direction is to the west. All right, so you traveled 1 mile in 30 minutes, which we said was 2 miles an hour, and you did it to the west. So your velocity was 2 miles an hour to, I better write that again. Your velocity was 2 miles an hour. Sorry, that's so messy. Tell you what, let's do this. 2 miles per hour to the west. Okay. Now, your friend's velocity, he also went 1 mile to the west. It's just that he took the wrong way. But in the very end, he ends up being 1 mile to the west, just like you. Okay. But it took him an hour to go that far. Remember, because he went all the way around the lake. It took him an hour to go 1 mile to the west. So his velocity was actually 1 mile per hour to the west. So as funny as it sounds, his speed was a lot faster than your speed. You went 2 miles an hour. He went 30 miles an hour. But your velocity was actually 2 miles an hour to the west. His was actually 1 mile an hour to the west. So your velocity was actually twice as fast as his, because it took you only 30 minutes to go that far to the west, whereas it took him a whole hour to do that. So that's the difference between velocity and speed. Remember, the simple way to understand it is velocity is your speed plus your direction, whereas speed is just your distance divided by your time.